Well, I guess they've been praying for rain in the Albury-Wodonga area, Talmalmo. Trust a farmer to come good.
It's nice to see George out in front. It's nice to see a Nissan out in front.
Brock, I think, has moved to 13th, having rejoined the field. Dick Johnson, who started, I believe, out of 8 today, or ninth, I should say, has gone back to... it's almost inconceivable. Can one put the wheels falling off the DJ show strictly down to tyres on 2 cars today, you believe?
Well, a bit more than that, Mike. It's a very fine balance at the best of times, and even if you're winning, only the team managers and really the drivers themselves are really totally aware of what kind of an advantage they have. And they could have been poised there quite precariously in a position that wasn't as strong as everyone had made out. They have got a very good act. They've worked very hard, and full credit to Dick Johnson and his team manager Neil Lowe and their total team for always being super organized and on top of all those little problems. But it only takes a little problem to knock you off the perch, and I think that's what they suffered here this weekend.
So Mark Skate moving up to about 5th, and by my recollection 4th, and must put Greg Hansford up fairly close behind him.
Behind Mark, we've got Andrew Madecki.
Yep.
Then followed by Brad Jones in position 6. Next one after that, I think, would be John Bow, followed by Larry Perkins, then Gary Rogers, Dick Johnson, and then a very lengthy gap, I think, back to Peter Brock.
Well, there's Longhurst now starting to dial in right behind Alan Grice.
I think Grice could be at the stage where the track is dry enough that with the weight of Commodore, he could have spent his tires and actually be struggling a little bit at this stage. Whereas George's car a little bit lighter, and one thing that Yokohama seemed to have been proving to the field over the last number of races, Mike, is that their race pace, qualifying pace, didn't seem to make any difference. They've got a nice durable tire, and I don't think tires are the slightest bit of concern to George Fury at the moment. But
they certainly are for Alan Grice at the moment, trying to fend off Tony Longhurst. Longhurst will immediately go to the inside coming down to this one, and knows that Grice will cover that. You can expect Grice to do a bit of defensive driving here, I would suspect.
This will be the widest Commodore in the world for the next 10 minutes.
He's not the guy you really pass. It's the guy you've got to work at for a while.
That's fair, and all fair in love and war. He's not being lapped. Tony has to fight his way back. This is not dirty driving. Grice, he's only doing what he should be doing. If he was being lapped, the gentlemanly, the sportsmanlike thing is to pull over. But this is a dice for a position, and as such, Alan Grice is quite entitled to take the inside line on every corner he can, and Tony has to slingshot himself back, and he may just be lining himself up here carefully, approach back straight, and he'll come out a little bit earlier than I would have expected, but it's not a very long straight, and here they are under brakes now. Grice is not having anything to do with it. Could be a touch here, and he's made it. He's got a whoop.
Yes, he said, you want to do that? We'll have a bit of that. Back the other things, pal.
Absolutely almost legend Grice. That's standard Grice procedure. As such, giving no quarter, probably a little bit uncalled for. Tony did get the better of him under brakes there, but he's not going to get out of that mud puddle.
Well, Tony wants a hand to get out, but I think he's going to need Mike Nelson.
He's had it now, mate. The only thing he's going to be warming up would be the tadpoles.
Let's have a look at this.
He's going to bang some door handles here today.
Well, there, Tony's gone in, giving him a tap there.
I could probably, I'll take my words back. Tony's initial bump there got Grice's hair up, and it was tit for tat. And of course, the Commodore came off better. Sierra second best. But there's no prizes for him. That's a pity. Tony was doing a good job there, and
yes, I think it'll take them at least until the end of the race to. Oh no, they're trying to get it back on the blacktop again. There's a fair bit of room here as we pick up on Grice going through in the number 15 car.
George, of course, will have picked that up in his rearview mirror, being a good rally driver. He sees both forwards and backwards simultaneously, and that'll given his confidence a nice little boost. He'll just know that that'll make it all that harder for Grice to get back up close to him.
What could have been, though, now you've got Tony sprinting away again, but behind him still is Alan Grice, so it's cost him almost a lap.
He's in 16th place now, Longhurst.
I think you'll find that unless we get a drop of rain and start to keep that track damp, Mark Scape is going to be the man to arrive and make life difficult for Alan.
Well, you remember at Perth, Mike, everything looked rosy for the lead towards the three-quarter mark, and then all of a sudden those tires were just too hot, and they had to change to dry tires.
We've still got a fair way to go in the 7th round of the Australian Touring Car Championship from Winton. Don't forget the grand final of the race comes to Sydney's Oran Park Raceway on Sunday, the 9th of July. Promised to be a huge day out there at Oran Park, so make your plans to be out there. And if you can't, make sure you join us on 7 and, of course, the Prime Network across Australia.
Oh, gee, Mark Scave's done a great job for Nissans. They cranked up the 3rd car.
This is a kid with a ton of talent. Don't see him in any hot spots. I guess it was a wise move by Freddie Gibson to come here with numbers today. He's lost Jim, but he's got George leading the race and Mark making a bold move for 3rd. And for the first time today, the sky is actually cleared, so you may well see a run for the pits by some of the competitors.
Pretty soon, I would say. John Bow on screen, car number 18 is in 6th position.
It's Brock as we take the Dulux Auto Colour race cam in the number 05 car. Past the start finishing line down to the right-hander.
He's in 9th place.
It's a pity that Peter lost the initiative. He had that there on the opening laps, and I'm sure took that gamble. It paid off. It was a 50-50 bet. But once you lose your run, it's very hard to get back into the momentum, and I think it'll be a tough job for him to get up there and regain 1st place.
That's the series leader, Dick Johnson, car number 17, and he's back in 10th position still behind Peter Brock. He's also got Larry Perkins, Gary Rogers up ahead of him.
He's got John Lusty behind him.
It's interesting how many Commodores, in fact, are making a show here today, Mike. Larry Perkins doing a good, steady job. He didn't have a happy run in qualifying, along with a lot of us yesterday, and may not have his best foot forward, but he's certainly showing that a Commodore is not out of this competition altogether. But it's quite amazing to see car 17 with cars in front of it.
If there was betting on the tab today, they'd be calling swabbing them. I tell you what, there's the Lusty brothers. Commodore is now starting to close on Johnson's car. As we show, of course, Greg Hansford in car number 9, running strong there. And our race leader, of course, George Fury in car number 3, coming up to put a lap on, I believe. New Zealand's Robbie Trump. So I haven't seen much of Robbie. Hasn't had the best of luck since he came to campaign in the Whittaker car, but George takes it down on the inside and through. Let's recap them for you on our Caltex race score. Your race leader is George Fury, doing it for Nissan. 2nd place, Alan Grice in a Commodore. 3rd, Mark Scaife in a Skyline. Then Andrew Madecki in a Sierra, followed by Brad Jones. The upset round of the series.
Peter Brock up to 5th position. Man led in the early stages of the race before being reeled in by George Fury and Alan Grice and company.
This is a bit like flying your F-111 in your lounge room, isn't it, around this track?
I'm just watching his movement with the steering wheel there. I can picture exactly what he's doing and how much tension he's got. He's not taking any chances through these tight corners, so it must be still a little bit slippery. You can see when they generally hold it, that little bit of a wiggle, he's just coaxing it. People think he's out of control. That's absolutely organized. He's doing that